Hello, everybody. And as you can gather, it's me, Claudia Rickard. Now, I'm really excited about this and I'm excited for you to become a trainer. However, there are lots of different sections to it. And I felt it was important for you to hear my voice and simply because when we are reading something, we can't hear the inflection behind it. You can't necessarily hear the passion, all the gusto that we might want to be saying something when we are training. So I felt it was better for me to do this as video modules to add to the training. I know I'll all be seeing you for trainings as well. However, I felt this would be something that you could all do before the training in person, because I sense that actually what you're probably wanting more when we do the group work, the retreats together, is that you will be wanting to do it. And then I will be watching and I can be coming in and saying, you could do this, you could do that. It's not about me doing my thing again, because you've all been in a training. It's about you doing it and about how we can all watch and learn from each other. So I think that's a better way to go and a better use of your time at the training, because then you can come back to these ones, you can learn these ones really well. There will be a manual as well, because I'll just get it transcribed from what I'm doing on here, and and then I'll tweak it. So one of the first things that I invite everybody to do as a trainer is to be engaging. Okay, people will want to have your energy. They will want to learn from you. And in my experience, I have personally always preferred to learn from people who are more upbeat than very methodical. And this is how we're doing it. And say a little bit boring, to be honest. As you all know, I don't work from the manual. Okay. And I know at times many of you will, first of all, that's okay. However, just get used to your own flow of doing the thing, the training. I do want this training to be as like me, as in what I say, as possible, so that people, when they have learnt it from you, they can go, yeah, it's very similar to Claudia, so I want to learn from you. I don't want necessarily mine to be better at all. It will just be the same. It'll just be different. So the training has to be fairly uniform in what we are actually training. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So one of the first things, as you all know, when I meet people, I do like people to get to know each other. I like them to say their name, where they're from, just so that people have acknowledged that there are people on there with them. I think that's really important. Now, another thing that you could do, you could play a game, make it your own in that respect, okay, how you want people to greet each other. You may only have a few people on a training at a time. That's happened to me. Of course it has. And you may have been one of the people where there's not been so many people on, and it's okay, because it's whatever it's meant to be at that time. Now, if there are lots of more people and it's online, then it's like quick go through it, because they will all get to know each other in the breakout rooms. Absolutely. And same with the in-person. Now, as you all know, I like to wear bright colours. I like to wear bright colours because, to me, it's really important that that is part of the playfulness of it all. The bunny talk process, although it's about something serious, it is playful. And again, we as trainers can start this off to wear something bright, because actually, when we're working with children, children do like bright things. I wouldn't want to be in a room with somebody who is wearing all grey, all brown, all whatever. Fine, you can wear black, but then have a fancy scarf on, a bright scarf. But I think you know what I'm saying. Now, as you all know, I start my trainings off with this thing that I do. My mind is still like water. My body is strong like a mountain. My heart is fierce like a lion. Rah! Okay, so I do that because, first of all, it gets me into my on ramp, but then I get everybody else to do it as well. Again, it's fun. And as you all know from my trainings, yes, I do that with my clients. I don't necessarily do it straight away, but I immediately think it's a great pattern interrupt to get people into a training going, oh, yeah, this is going to be fun. So I invite you to do that as well. Let's break that down. It is from the Yabura tribe. My mind is still like water. It's from an African tribe. And they all knew how important it was for their mind to be clear minded, okay, to not have the clutter. So my mind is still like water. My body is strong like a mountain. So now they are anchoring in that they are strong, strong as a mountain, that they are strong. They're anchoring that in. And that's a good feeling. And then my heart is fierce like a lion. Well, lions are fierce, and mother lions will protect their young. So many of our clients, the mothers that we see, the parents that we see, will protect their children as though they are a lioness. And that, again, is what we want. My heart is fierce like a lion. So I'm not saying it's violent, because lions did not go around, or they still don't go around, just killing everything. They live in harmony and peace with the other animals. They will often be lazing about, and the wildebeest will be going by, zebras will be going by. They will only hunt when they are hungry, when they need to. And we know all this, the circle of life, the Lion King, okay? So we know that's really important. And then the raw bit, because I suspected that they wanted that energy then to go and hunt lion. That would have been part of a lot of people's progression for young boys to get into manhood. Now, this is fun for children to do and the parent, and I do it with real gusto. Okay, I will invite you to do that too. You know I do. I put all my energy into it, and it is great fun because it raises the tempo, raises the energy, and then you can go straight on into your diagrams, because now they're like, people are snapped out of any sleepiness. They want to learn from you. So that is something that I do invite straight away. Now, I do like to go straight into the diagrams pretty quickly because there are a lot. And, has everybody got some pens? Has everybody got some paper? Because this is what we're going to do. And let me just get my paper. So I'm going to do the first diagram on this training. Although before that, I'm even going to start to say that when I see a client, my and the reason why we do these diagrams, first of all, is because we may get a client who will see us, who wants them to help their child, who wants them to help their teenager. And we invite them to come in, invite them to say, can you come in for a session? I'd like you to, just see how this works and see if I'm a good fit for your child. And the reason why we want the parents to come in, first of all, is because it's not often the child. Sadly, it is what's going on inside the home, the environment, and it's better to work with the parents first of all. Sometimes it is the child. I absolutely agree, because there could be bullying going on. So the diagrams that I'm going to explain now, that you are going to train to your people, these are for the parents and these are for the teenagers. You may well get a parent and the teenager in at the same time. That's what I do a lot of the time for the first session. Generally, the parents don't come in for the second session with the teenagers. I do not use these diagrams with little people, but I will have already seen the parent with them, and then they understand potentially what is going on for their child. I actually use these with all of my clients, all of these diagrams, because I believe it's important that people understand what they're going through, or why they do it. And what my clients love about it is that actually, instead of like me sitting opposite them, them telling the story, they're able to tell me bits and pieces as we go along. And I also make notes of those, just like one word notes. So if you are training this, you will do that on a big piece of paper. All right. As in, if you're training it to people in person. If you are doing it online, you will get good at doing this. Okay. So have your clipboard, have paper, and get a Sharpie, and you will go through lots of paper. So, and start at the top here and say, this represents your brain. Now, this is a model, okay? Because we don't want everybody to think, oh, that is your brain. And in fact, a lot of people, they start saying, no, it's not. So say, this is a model, okay? Now, this is a model of your brain. And it's like this egg shape. And this bit, I'm going to draw a line here. This bit is your conscious mind. This is the bit that you learnt to drive with. It's the bit that we needed to learn to drive with, because I expect you probably looked at what your feet were doing. And, you know, if you had a shift gear, because in England we can only use with shift, we call them gears, then you really would have been noticing what your feet were doing, because there's 3 pedals. You've got the clutch as well. Now, people generally go, yep, yep, yep. Now, if you're doing this with a teenager, then it could be the sports that they're into. Okay, so you may have found out in a call or something just similar, because often I do see children, teens for sports issues, and so that can be helpful. So you'll know that when they first started playing hockey, they had to learn how to hold the hockey stick, and you know where to go, had to learn how to ice skate, all those sorts of things. So they're going, yes, yes. And I expect now you just put the key in, press the button, and you just drive. Same with the hockey, if we're going to use that analogy, that it's, you know, you just know how to hold the stick, and you just immediately know where to move into space now. Because now this is all in your unconscious mind, subconscious mind, I say whatever you want to call it, because in this bit is where all our habits, dreams, and memories are stored. I say, look how big that bit is compared to that bit. Now, we are all also 100% emotional brain. So everything you have has an emotional attachment. And this is where you start to look at them, and you start to see if they've got any tattoos on, if they've got what jewelry they're wearing, earrings, anything like that. So again, for your people, just get them to make sure that they are becoming more aware of their client. Okay, because we have to calibrate all the time. All the time. Calibrate. What does calibrate mean? It means to see if they're flushing. It means to see if they're breathing heavily. It means to see if they're twitching and picking. It means to see if they're playing with their hair. So many different things that we're constantly looking at their body language. If they're leaning forward, if they're leaning back, if they're looking all over the place, if they look bored. So we're all 100% emotional brain. Now, because you're talking about the client, they will not be looking around because you're actually then focusing on them. So this is very engaging for people. And if somebody says, why are we doing this? Well, we're actually talking about them. Okay, that's why. So you're talking about the client and you're saying you're 100% emotional brain. I bet all of this that you're wearing has an emotional attachment. And they're going, yes, yes, and they'll tell you little stories. Oh, yes, I got this watch for Christmas, something like that. And you can say, and we also all react 100% emotionally. We just do. We all react 100% emotionally. We can't help it. And then you ask them if they've ever lost something. I will often use the thing, have you lost your credit card? Have you lost your keys? Have you lost your phone? That sinking feeling. And so we do give various examples that people can use so that they can learn it themselves a lot easier, going, oh yes, I could use that example. Okay, because we are all 100% emotional brain. It's really important to get that across. And then I say, now this bit is our anxiety box, and this bit is normal anxiety. That is normal anxiety. We have to have that. If you didn't have that, you might let your children go out and play in the road. They would play with copperheads, play with bears. Wherever you're from, your particular area of where you live, so you can use your own examples there. Now, but we have to have that. It goes back to caveman days, fight, flight, freeze. It's very important that we have that. Keeps us safe. Again, if you're going to use the driving one, because if somebody's driving like that in front of you, we go, oh, I'm not going to overtake you because you're either asleep, you're on drugs, you're drunk, something's up. And so then we go into that wonderful place of fight, flight, freeze, and we need it because it keeps us safe, because we go, oh, okay. Same with all sorts of things. So aren't our brains amazing? And that is what we really want to instill to our trainers, that they get that bit. Aren't our brains amazing? Yes, our brains are amazing. And when you have clients going, yes, again, you've got another yes. All right. Now, this bit, so, well, this is where some not very nice things happen. Now, if you're training this and you're training it to somebody who is seeing a lot of children or teens, then because again, you wouldn't necessarily use this with anybody under 12. You've got to be careful how you say this. You may say this because we don't know yet if they've ever been raped. But say this, you may come across this, maybe one of your friends, or you may see it on television or something, because unfortunately children do know this word, even at 12 and 13. But there is some horrible things that can happen in life. And there is rape, there's abuse, there's neglect, there's bullying, there's parents divorcing, there's parents dying, pets dying, there's moving, there's losing jobs, there's car crashes, there's hurricanes. Again, in your area, you will use whatever you use, because we're going to have people from all over the world doing this. So, it could be there are landslides, there are bear attacks, there are crocodile attacks. You're going to use whatever you use there in your area. And these are exiles in pain. And that is past pain that is still in pain. I started writing that in because I had people saying, what are exiles in pain? Well, actually, it is. It's past stuff, and yet it's still affecting us. So it's very useful for us to put that in and in for the client, because so often as you've done this, you will then get and explain this to your people that you're training. You will get them saying, clients saying, "Oh yeah, I've had nearly every single one you've mentioned there. Yeah, that's happened to me." So now you know that there's stuff. Okay. Again, remember, we don't need to hear the story. Some people will start telling you stories because they're used to it. They're used to going to therapists. So they will start telling you stories. Listen politely, keep it to a minimum, because sometimes it is important that they start to feel that trust. That's their journey. That's what they are wanting to do with you. Before you see them and explain this, that we generally do not need to hear the story. Again, it's going to depend on who you are training. If you're training therapists, they are used to hearing the story and they will want to. We don't have to. The beauty of this is that we are able to help people who do not want to share the story. I personally don't like hearing the story, but I know some people need to get it off their chest. If it then starts to activate into an ab reaction, I will then clear it with the bunny eye movements. You can tell your trainees that that is what they can do too once they get really good with the bunny eye movements, because they're going to be practicing and learning them from you. I think that's important, that because then you can show the client what you can do immediately. And now they've got the proof that, oh, you're the one who can make that thing, really take the emotional charge out of it, pretty quickly. And you will know that, which is why you're learning to train this. So these are the various exiles in pain. And when these ping off each other, and I say it's like a ping pong machine, the emotional brain kicks in, and I draw 2 lines from there to there. And then from that point, not the top one, we have this wonderful thing. These come out. So when the emotional brain is triggered, we produce these. Now, these are our outlets. These are our sub-protectors. Outlets, sub-protectors. And what are these? Habits and addictions. Now, if a client has come to you with sugar or vaping or whatever, that just say that, and here we go. You've got sugar. Food, too much food. Remind people they always still need to eat. Alcohol, drugs, gaming, vaping, sex, porn, shopping, gambling, work, gym. And the list could go on. And say that to them. Say that to your people. And when you're training this, invite them to say it out to you, because we want to have that collaboration with them. And then we have OCD, and there's fears and phobias. OCD, we need to explain to our people training from us that OCD is something we can help people with, because it's often an anxiety related issue, again, from something like here. However, OCD will often want to be seen by therapists as well, perhaps. A lot of people can be on drugs for that, which can actually inhibit our work. However, it's some people will come to you and go, "Oh yes, I've got OCD. The whole family is always telling me I've got OCD," and I always ask, "How do you do OCD?" And they'll say, "Oh well, I'm tidying up, I hoover, and then I can sit down and relax." Well, in my opinion, That's not OCD. That is being house proud. And that's okay. And that's where the acceptance bit comes in another diagram. Now, OCD, and I will go and explain it. This is OCD, and I'll start flicking my light switches. And so we might need to do that, please, for your people learning from you, because not everybody really understands that, and they need to. Okay. So fears and phobias. And again, depending on what state you're in, not everybody is allowed to see somebody with a phobia. So I always say fears. It's again that can be kept for psychiatrists and therapists, like OCD and even some of the addictions. We can help with habits. Now, so there's sleep. Again, insomnia, not necessarily allowed to write that word, but it can be sleep issues. I always ask all of my clients how they sleep, and do ask your trainers to ask their clients how well do they sleep, because it's really important to ask that, because sleep is vital for health. ADHD can often get worse because of lack of sleep. Brain functioning, full stop, can get worse because of lack of sleep. We can just get brain fog. So always ask, okay, because that is important for you to know, and make sure your trainers are always asking that as well. It can make people more weepy. It can cause all sorts of issues. We all know that. Now, we have all these other things like tics, nail biting. Of course, I'm looking at their nails if I've got a client next to me. Nail biting, picking. Picking is really important for you to write down here and for you to explain to your trainers. Picking is a form of criticism. You're literally picking yourself. So make sure that you always say that, okay, that you always put that one in, picking. And, the criticism, maybe it's, and you can just say this out loud, maybe it's, who's criticizing you. So is it yourself or someone else? Well, kids will often say, well, it's, teachers or kids or whatever, their parents. Parents, adults will say, well, yeah, no, it's me. And I go, where did you get it from? Oh, and then you're just finding out more. And maybe they didn't get it from anywhere. Maybe they will actually be honest and go, no, it is them. But you're just getting more of an idea of what's going on. And not everybody picks anyway. Picking. There is hair pulling, trichotillomania. I am not going to write that. And I always make a little joke there by saying I'm not going to write that. It will take me all day. Again, share that with your people, unless you do want to write trichotillomania. I just wouldn't bother, because your clients won't always know what it is, because they so often don't even know what bruxism is. And I write that one down because I can spell it. And I say it's teeth grinding, teeth clenching. Oh yes, I do that. I go, okay, well that can often be from anger. And I go, I'm not really angry, so it could be suppressed anger. Some people are very angry, so find it out. Inner critical voice. Most people have one. It's like our Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio. Do ask them to have that, like shoulding. You should be doing this, you should be doing that. Again, that's like a different type of anger. You should. So find out. And this is what you're telling your people that you're training to, get them to find out if they have an inner critical voice. Most of our clients will have one of a sort, okay, simply by the nature of it, because if they don't, then that may be the parent coming to see you to check how you're working with their child, which is fine. But if they don't have an inner critical voice, then you know that they probably have a tendency to have narcissistic qualities. Again, I don't diagnose, but I'll leave that with you. So Now we have other things like perfectionism. Yeah, which can lead to procrastination. So many of our clients have this. Say that to your trainers. So many of our clients have this. It's an important one to put in. Uh, Children who have also might have the picking, who might have do self-harming, who might have food issues. They're often perfectionists, and it can lead to procrastination. It can lead to the picking, can lead to all sorts of things to put those in. And then there's all the different types of anxieties and depression, panic attacks. The list could go on. We could have bullying, hurt people. We could have stealing. I've seen many people stealing. Didn't come for help for it. They just told me they did. So again, let your trainees know there could be a whole list, and to just keep filling it in. And sometimes clients start to go, oh yes, this. And then I say to them, so which ones have you got? Now, my clients keep all these diagrams that I draw for them. So I'll make a little side note of the things that they might ring. So it could be, oh, my pen's going. Could be fears. We might have picking. We might have perfectionism, procrastination. We might have anger, inner critical voice. There could be sugar going on. Loads of different things that could be going on here. Depression. And again, anxieties. A lot of people have the two together. Generally, depression is about the past. Anxiety is about the future, the what ifs. However, a lot of people have anxiety about the future because of the past. Now, I say to my clients that when you're busy doing all of these, I mean, I haven't even put hobbies in yet. Hobbies, do-gooders, nothing wrong with our do-gooders. I say that to my clients. I just know that they probably didn't get enough praise when they were a child. And if you get that hunch, it's a good one to put in, because then again, you've understood it's probably from picking as well, and perfectionism. So it's a helpful one for you to train. All right. I say to my clients is my job is to get rid of these, because you're so busy doing all of these. It's distracting you from this, because nobody really wants to do that. Oh, yeah. And you will get some people who will ask, what's that bit there? Well, this bit is when, say, you do have somebody who has been bullied, who has been neglected, who has been abused, who is on drugs, who is on alcohol. So that means their prefrontal cortex is very damaged, especially if they've been abused and neglected by their mother. It's not formed very well. And then they're on drugs and alcohol. So now there's not a lot going on saying whether things are right or wrong. And they say they're bullied. These can ping off each other so much that it goes into this bit, which goes into that bit. And that causes psychosis. We do not see people in psychosis. If there are therapists on here, they will. All right. I don't. And that is what we train as well. We do not see people in psychosis, unless, of course, you are training somebody who's a therapist, and then they know they can. However, they will then be patched up. They may be put back together, or sadly, they may well have killed themselves and others by then. We don't know. But they are often, sadly, gun shooters. They are people who take their own lives. If they have managed to get the help that they need, then they might get, these might all be softened, but they still got those probably. And I have seen many people working alongside therapists and psychologists who, and I've been able to help them get rid of those. And then these things have shrunk by default, but they still had those. Okay. So it's an important one for you to cover in your training. I don't often necessarily do that with my clients unless I know that they have been recommended to me by a therapist, because they know it. They know I've got to get rid of that. That's why they've been sent to me by their therapist or psychologist. And same with you. So I'm going to leave that as the first module, and any comments, and then just you put all of the questions that you may have in the Facebook group for this this video, okay, around this diagram. See you again soon. Bye.